kids. I have a story for you today called My Hair is a Garden. Wonder what it would be like to have hair. I forget. It's been so long since I've had much. I forget what it's like to have hair. But maybe some of you can help me remember. Maybe this book can help me remember what it's like to have hair. It's about someone who has a different kind of hair than other people around her, and what it was like for her to be like that. My Hair is a Garden. Words and pictures by Cozbi A. Cabrera. I was always drawn to Miss Tilly's house. She lived 4 houses down and across the street from our house. There was something special about Miss Tilly, the way she found a use for everything and made up songs while scrubbing her porch. The way her house shone in the daylight, with its vines curling around it. It took my breath away. You could say her house had a glory. I used to run right into her house when I was a toddler. So, when I was teased because of my hair, again, it was no surprise that I found myself running right to Miss Tilly's after school. She led me to her kitchen table where she'd been straining sorrel. Its pungent aroma and smell of steeping ginger filled the kitchen. When my tears came a slow leak, a salty streak, she handed me a tissue and let me be for a few minutes. Miss Tilly knew if I was looking for comfort, I could go to Mama for that. She knew I was at her house for a reason. She set a cup of the sorrel in front of me, and I took a sip. It went down smooth and tangy and broke through the lump in my throat. I need help with my hair, I said. It wasn't the first time my hair had been made a joke. I sort of got used to it. I'd shrug it off, or I'd keep my hat on even when I wasn't supposed to wear it in class. But when Julio Richards, who I'd known since kindergarten, said, "We all know Mac's hair is always a mess," he said it like it was a fact, like we all knew the Statue of Liberty is surrounded by water, or we all knew George Washington was the first president of the United States. Folks had been poking fun of my hair since I was little, I told Miss Tilly. Mama's tried to fix it, but the truth is, she doesn't know what to do with it. I could feel Miss Tilly's hand on my thick nest of a head. That touch gave me hope. I made a little song in my head. Miss Tilly's hair is shiny. Miss Tilly's hair is long. She wears it as a crown, like beauty wrapped in song. You know, Miss Tilly's hair has a glory. Miss Tilly called my mama, who said I could stay there a while. Then Miss Tilly turned to me. "Now I'll show you how to shampoo," she said. "Shampoo? I know my hair's a mess, but it's not dirty," I thought. Miss Tilly put a towel around my neck and led me to the sink. Normally, I would part your hair in quarters before shampooing, but it's a bit tangled and matted now, so it's best to shampoo first. We'll detangle when it's more pliable. For that, you'll need a wide-tooth comb. "I already use a wide-tooth comb," I said. "Well, when I use a comb, that is." Miss Tilly took out a large comb with teeth that looked as far apart as the space in a garden rake. I nodded. "Oh, right," I said. "A wide-tooth comb." "We'll use this one for now," said Miss Tilly. "Later on, when your hair's trained, you can go back to your usual comb." Trained? Did Miss Tilly mean she could train hair? "Oh yes," Miss Tilly replied. "You've got to work with what you have." but you can still tell it what to do. Do you think my hair will be as long as yours once it's trained? I asked her. Length doesn't matter, Mackenzie. Don't let anybody fool you. It's the health of your hair that counts. Miss Tilly ran the water in the sink. I guess you're right, I said. But I wasn't convinced. Would my hair always be somebody's idea of a joke? Would it ever be beautiful? Miss Tilly turned the water off. Which would you prefer if you had to choose? A healthy, shiny head of cropped hair? Or hair that's long, straggly, fragile, and full of split ends? Were those my only choices? Those questions were drowning in the song in my head. Miss Tilly looked at me as if she were reading my thoughts. She slowly pulled the towel from my shoulder and laid it on the kitchen counter by the sink, near the drained pot of sorrel. Come with me, she said. She steered me toward the screen door on her garden. Miss Tilly's backyard was a paradise with so many shapes of green, bright pockets of colorful flowers and cool shape. Could barely take it in. It was as if someone had taken a big paintbrush and made bold strokes of green and then used countless little paintbrushes to fill in the details. And we walked over to a bench and sat down. I inhaled deeply. The backyard didn't smell like the rest of the neighborhood. It smelled, well, alive. I wanted to know every part of this garden. I reached down to feel the ground. The earth was damp and cool. It felt like it was giving me something I couldn't see. How did you create this, Miss Tilly? I wanted to know. 30 or more years ago, I put some seeds in the ground, Miss Tilly said. I planted cuttings from neighbors and friends, trees. Bought a few plants and bulbs from catalogs. I pointed to the tree Miss Tilly called a Japanese maple. The big one that draped gracefully over the garden. That tree was a cutting, I asked. Oh, that was a wee thing at first. Phone company men came through our yard. And one day, they trampled over it with their boots. Got it the way where they were sitting to have lunch. I found it plucked up and clean and woven into my chain link fence. What did you do? Oh, I cried, Miss Tilly replied. Paid $15 for that tree, and that was a lot of money for me at the time, but I put that tree right back in the ground and watered it every day, without fail. I thought about how that little tree has survived and all the water Miss Tilly gave it every day, even though it just looked like a broken branch. I wonder if I would have given up and thrown it away. I leaned down and ran my hand over some tiny plants on the ground near the bench. What are those? Those are succulents. They hold a lot of water. Makes a great ground cover. They sure are pretty, I said. Miss Tilly looked at me. Is that Japanese maple prettier than those succulents? She asked. Of course not, I said. Even though that Japanese maple's taller? She asked. They're both beautiful, I said. Even though they're so different. as the words came out of my mouth. I knew that I believed it. "Ah," she said, "go back inside and put your towel back on." That was the day I first learned that my hair is a garden. My hair is a garden, and like every good garden, it must be cared for every day. The nutrients in the soil can be stimulated and enriched. My body is the soil for my hair. What I give to the soil comes back to me. I love to eat right. My words are like seeds that I plant. What I think and speak draws a yield. I weed out all the opinions that have no place in my garden. Miss Tilly says, it's not what you start with in the garden that matters. It's the care, time, and attention you give it. My hair is a garden, and I give it love. Well, I know we laugh sometimes because I don't have much hair anymore. But you know, hair is important. I mean, how many people have hair exactly like yours? Maybe you have really thin blonde hair. It's really long. Maybe you have short brown hair. Do you have curly hair? You might have hair that kind of looks like this. Do you have friends that have hair that looks like this? That's dark, maybe black even, and really, really curly and feels a lot different texture and everything. You know, we all have different kinds of hair. We all have different body types. We all have different skin colors. There's many, many different ones. You know, what's interesting is that a lot of times we hear things like, well, let's not worry about the differences that people have, right? I don't know that that's always true. I think it's important, of course, to remember that even when we're different, we still have a lot in common. But sometimes I like that we all have different things. You know, isn't it fun that I don't have hair and that you might? Isn't it fun that you have a different kind of hair than your friend? And maybe your friend is wishing that they had hair like you and you're wishing you had hair like them. But what if you were able to just say, you know, it's nice that you have the hair that you have and it's nice that I have the hair that I have. Because, I mean, we both look great, but we both look different. And that way people can tell us apart. So, you know, sometimes differences are good. I have a different skin color or a different skin tone than the person I'm married to, than Lisa. Some of you have met Miss Lisa. She's tall. She has lots of long curly hair. Her and I are super different. And yet we get along. We're married. We live together every single day. And we celebrate the ways that each of us is different from the other. So remember that sometimes differences are good, and that they don't necessarily need to be things you make fun of, but things you can celebrate and say, I like that your hair is the way that it is. I like that shirt. I think you are really good at something that I'm not good at. I like the way that you play the piano, and I play the trumpet. I like the way that you can run really fast, but I can lift really heavy things. We all have things that are different, and that's what makes life so fun and enjoyable. So let's celebrate the differences that we have among us.